Thanks to everybody who came back. Thanks everybody who joined for this morning session before a bit of a lunch. We have tackled some of the technical challenges that came with scaling VR. Now we're going to shift gears and look more at the content production and the creative side, because I think that ultimately it is a lot about telling story. So to know more about story, we have today Adam. First, Adam Nasralla from Visibyl. He's showing what happens when spatial content becomes conversational, AI-guided experience grounded entirely in verified data. So I would say, Adam, do you want to come in? Are you equipped with a mic? I think you are. I think it will work. Trust me. Go. Keep going. Keep going.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Awesome. Adam, floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how my company Visibyl is trying to redefine immersive experiences with AI. I'm Adam Nasralla, co-founder of Visibyl. I've worked on a variety of things. I've been doing graphical software and XR for about 20 years. I started off doing The Sims Social, which was an online Facebook game. It was on Facebook. This was before mobile games, kind of showing my age with that one. And then I went on to do face recognition security for a company called iProve. iProve is now used by the UK government. Unfortunately, I don't have any shares in iProve. I also did haptic VR surgery simulation, building simulation where you could feel cutting through skin in VR. And most recently, I led the development of Headspace XR. I founded Visibyl with my brother, Patrick Nasralla. You might notice that we look quite similar. We're not twins. Patrick has a very diverse career. He started off doing neuroscience, and he's moved on into graphics development. But before this, he was an emergency room doctor. So while I was busy strapping a phone onto my face, he was saving real people's lives. I know which I would rather be doing. So, large language models. These have enabled us for the first time to have natural conversations with computers. A lot of people have bad things to say about AI, and I agree with a lot of those things, but it is pretty amazing that we can talk to computers now. Pretty mind-blowing in my opinion. Native human language has become an interface for all digital information. So what does this mean for immersive experiences? Of course, avatars, and here is everyone's favorite avatar. And it is pretty amazing with AI. Obviously now we can talk to avatars, have natural conversations with avatars. But is this all that large language models mean for immersive experiences? Because we can already have very deep, meaningful conversations with real people in real life at far higher resolution. So what else can we do with large language models? What if we imagine further? What if we think about the things that we can't do without them? Imagine talking to a dream. Imagine the dream taking the shape of a conversation as you talk about it. It was from this idea that the concept for Visibyl was born. So if you extend the idea that large language models can talk about anything into experiences, does this mean that we could experience anything? I can imagine an experience that took the form of everything as you thought about it, and it could turn into anything. But would this end up being like some of the more interesting AI videos we see today? The interesting thing is, when you give full autonomy over to AI, you lose control. You lose the human touch. We want to control our experiences. We want to create them. We don't want to hand over the creation of experiences to AI. These are stories that we want to tell from the heart. We want to convey our lived experiences. We want to capture magical moments that make our users feel something. Why would we want to lose control over this? Let's not let AI out into the wild and make things up as it goes along. Let's not let AI bullshit its way through experiences as it loves to do. This will never produce the same quality of storytelling that humans can produce. There's an interesting paradox. We have all these exciting new ways of communicating with computers, but we still want to be able to control the narrative and tell the stories that we want to tell. How do we do this? How do we find the balance between the freedom of interactive, natural flowing conversations and structured, detailed narratives with magical moments that are handcrafted? We think the key is getting AI to listen and letting our human voices speak. We should use the breakthroughs in LLMs to interpret the nuance of human speech in ways that were never possible before. By creating a pre-generated conversation space, an explorable map of narrative possibilities, we are creating software that listens to the user and responds, not only with voice, but also with the visual progression of the story. By using AI to interpret user intent, we can move through the space, not only choosing the best response, but choosing the best path to take through the narrative. And as we move through the space, the visuals can react, taking the shape of the conversation, the topic of the conversation materializing before your eyes. So how do we build these conversation spaces? I'm a big believer in the collaborative use of AI, of working with LLMs to achieve more, using them as a force multiplier, but with a human tightly embedded in the loop. We can use AI to generate vast dialogues covering every possible angle, but do it ahead of time. Let us have human involvement in this process. Key moments in the story can be carefully handcrafted, but let AI handle the rarer edge cases. And as this is all done beforehand, every word can be checked for accuracy and tone. And doing it in this way, you can guarantee zero AI hallucinations. But if we're doing this ahead of time, how will we know what users will say? How do we handle every possible response? It's very simple. We can't know what they'll say. How do we find out? We work with our users to produce these conversation spaces through user testing. And in this process, we not only learn how to build the best conversation space, but we also learn about our users, involving them directly in the process of building our experiences. We believe that as AR glasses become more widespread, more interaction with software will become more commonplace. As we no longer have screens to type on, we will interact with software using gestures and with our voice. But until then, we should remember that immersion's not just about XR, but about actually being immersed in an experience and getting users to talk, to role play, and act out as part of the experience. They will naturally become more immersed, even if it's just with an old-fashioned screen. So on to what we've actually built. We've taken a brilliant set of 3D scans provided by the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Each one comes with a brilliant, detailed description written by a human. Our system ingests this human-written content and converts it into thousands of pre-generated responses. This builds our conversation space, all of which can be checked and hand-edited ahead of time if necessary. We've created swirling particle effects that react as the system speaks and also morph into the different shapes of different artifacts. Zooming into details as users are free to ask any question about them. If you ask something outside of the knowledge set, the system will be honest and say, "I don't know," but share some relevant information. We think it's really refreshing to hear an AI say, "I don't know." They're usually so overconfident. This is just one example. Here's a deep dive into a products of the future, the perfect interactive brochure, naturally answering all your clients' questions, while showcasing product details with irresistible visuals. Sorry about this, guys.
Can we move next slide? No, this is. Here, Valkyrie.
Oh, great. Yeah, next slide. Another demo is escaping from a fantasy dungeon, solving narrative puzzles and riddles using only your voice to explore the mysteries held within. You could also explore vast data sets with conversation as your guide through its complexity, the system interpreting your speech, visualizing the data in any way you desire. The types of voice-driven experience you can create in this way are limited only by your imagination. This is such a new type of experience, it's difficult for me to fully explain here on Chet's stage. I chose not to include videos because I feel this is something that's best understood by trying it for yourself. So if you haven't tried already, we're exhibiting next door in stand A2. So if you're interested in our idea, come and try it out. Or better still, work with us to build the conversational, immersive experiences of the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.